Hi guys, so I'm gonna read I think the second story in Captain America Comics #1. This might be a shorter video because of the way I downloaded the comics. Yes, so sorry about that, but anyway, we'll see I'm gonna read two stories anyway. This con one and a text one. So this was later re-updated in the 60s. Stan Lee re-updated this story in particular, but so Captain America by Joe Simon and Jack Kirby. What connection was there between the wave of sabotage that swept the U.S. defense industries and the strange little man who predicted it would happen? No man but Captain America could solve the riddle. It's the Captain and I against all enemies of liberty. Today, Sando and Omar. Get your tickets now. Just 10 cents to see Sando and Omar predict the future. And now, ladies and gentlemen, my partner, Omar, shall perform the impossible. We shall predict the future. Two pairs of eyes meet and lock. Dwarfed Omar seems to vibrate under the terrific strain. Think, Omar. Think hard. Tell us what is to come. Think. Think, Omar. Think hard. The audience is held spellbound by the weird performance. Gee, look at that. Wonder if he can do it. Can't tell yet, but this future stuff gives me jitters. Very good, Omar. Now tell us what you see. Things getting clearer now. A terrible accident is to happen at Fort Bix. And at that very instant, during war maneuvers, Fort Bix is shaken by a terrific blast. The thing about this story, why would they or I don't want to spoil it, so I don't want to, okay. I never believe it. And just 2 seconds ago, Fort Bix was blown into pieces in a most mysterious manner. No word of how. Private Rogers and Bucky read the news. Seems mighty strange, eh, Bucky? Yeah, this Omar and Sando act sounds like a phony to me. What do we say? What say we go down and see it in person? Okay by me, soldier. They say these guys can actually read the future. I wouldn't miss this for the whole world. In his dressing room, Sando shakes off the mob of reporters. You'll have to see it for yourselves, gentlemen, in our next act. Among the audience, waiting for the show to begin, are Steve Rogers and Bucky. I still think they're a couple of fakes. Shh, they're starting now. Once more, the weird performance is repeated as glaring eyes lock, and Omar's mind strives to pierce the future. Think, think, think. I see a bridge. The Hilltown Bridge. It's thick with traffic. The bridge is going to collapse. While all attention is drawn to the stage, Private Steve Rogers and Bucky slip into a corner. Hurry, Bucky. No time to lose. Let's go. Maybe there's still time. Right. At that instant, a thunderous explosion from the outside, and Captain America knows that he is too late to prevent the disaster. Boom. The theater buzzes with excitement as Captain America and Bucky turn back to find Sando and Omar. Gangway! Let's see what Omar has to say to Captain America. Just a minute, crystal gazers. Who are you? I'll ask the questions, mister. How did you know the bridge was going to topple? Speak up. Suddenly, Omar makes a quick dash for the door. Come back here, you runt. A woman's shrill cry for help causes Captain America to whirl about. That scream came from Sando's dressing room. Sorry, Sando, but I can't let you get away. Sock. That's funny. The room is quiet and dark. As Captain America enters the darkened room, the lights suddenly go on. Come in, Captain America. We've been expecting you. Well, well, if I haven't stumbled in a skunk's nest. In another corner of the room, Bucky and a familiar girl, are helplessly gripped by two burly Nazis. Betty Ross is the name of Captain. It seems we both have an interest in the same case. Ain't she pretty, Cap? Just then the door opens and Sando enters, nursing an aching jaw. You'll pay for that blow, Herr Captain America, with slow torture. So you're one of the Fuhrer's flunkies, eh, Sando? The name is von Krantz, and I plan a chain of disasters that will destroy the morale of your whole country. I don't know, why would he advertise it, though? That's the thing. I was like, yeah, like, that would expose him. But anyway, I've been investigating this ring for the government. Poor idiotic Omar is von Krantz's tool. The Gestapo plans the explosions, and von Krantz and Omar predict them. That's all I want to know. Let's go, Bucky. Wham. Pow. I gotcha, Cap. Captain America and Bucky attack with the ferocity of twin tornadoes. Suddenly, the battered von Krantz raises himself from the floor, and, now you will breathe your last, Herr Captain. I'm going to blast us all to bits. Woo. Give me that. Swish. Bam. Nice work, Bucky. This finishes von Krantz and his boys. Keep Krantz covered until the FBI arrives. Yes, but wait, you can't go. I want to thank you. Perhaps some other time. Good night, Miss Ross. Captain America and Bucky disappear into the night, leaving behind them a wrecked spy ring and a puzzled girl. Captain America would like to hear from you. Write and tell him how you liked his book. Well, we're going to read the next story now. It's a text story. So, Captain America felt himself crushed in a vise-like grip. Beware Nazi spies, beware fifth columnists. Beware all enemies of the USA, beware the wrath of Uncle Sam's greatest secret agent, the mythical Captain America. Captain America and the Soldier's Soup. So this isn't as long as the Superman one I read last time. This is very short, but the cold, stark rays of an autumn moon gleamed down on the great tent city. Uncle Sam's selective service boys were asleep. Sharp, deep shadows fell everywhere. An eerie, unreal quiet hung over the white mounds like a ghastly foreboding of terrible things to come. Private Rogers stirred uneasily in his cot. His hand mechanically slid over the bed next to him. He was reassured. His young admirer, Bucky, lay there, sound asleep. The soldier turned noiselessly in his cot, smiling, remembering that Bucky was there, because a kind-hearted colonel of an indulgent government just could not let such devotion as Bucky's go unrewarded. With a start, Rogers sat bolt upright. He knew now why he had awakened. He missed the steady tread of the sentry. He listened, his every nerve tense like a well-strung tennis racket. No sound came to him, only the steady breathing of his boy pal. Convinced that there was some mischief afoot, he leaped from his cot. Behind a lump of bushes, almost completely hidden by the inky shadows, Roger's eagle-sharp eyes came upon the slumped body of the sentry, dead. He straightened up to his full 6'3". So that's Captain America's height, apparently. A defiance blazing in his deep blue eyes that swore an undying vengeance for the murder of his fallen comrade. He disappeared into his tent. In the twinkling of an eye, another emerged. It was the mythical Captain America, he whose deeds were the toast of the army. From the office of the Secretary of War, so that used to be the Secretary of Defense, to the lowliest outposts in the steaming jungles of the far-off Philippines. He stood up for a moment, framed against the white of the tent, a resplendent figure in tight-fitting suit of Old Glory, the nervous ripple of his tremendously powerful muscles plainly visible under their red, white, and blue covering. Two shadowy figures were sneaking along the great cookhouse, among giant cookpots that looked like monster kettle drums at attention. "You conked that sentry guy too hard," whispered Slinky, squinting his one eye hard at his partner. "You didn't have to freeze that chatter," nervously interrupted the Crusher. "If I croaked him, so what? When he gets this soup flavored up, there'll be plenty of guys that join him." He gurgled a half laugh and continued, "That's what soldiers is for, ain't they? To die." "This is it," announced Crusher, as he swung back the oversized lid of one of the giant pots and played the rays of his pencil flash on the gray-brown, thickish liquid within. "Soap, says the Baron," he chuckled, "and soap it is." He unscrewed the cap from a small bottle, held it over the kettle, but hesitated. As though pronouncing a benediction, he leered, "As the executioner says to the guy on the hot seat when he throws in the switch, 'Pardon me for going through you.'" Like a horizontal meteor, Captain America was upon him. The bottle with its death-dealing fluids slithered harmlessly to the far end of the great room. With an ugly, guttural oath, the Crusher recovered from his surprise and steadily circled in on the captain. His short but immensely broad, thick build did not belly his nickname. He made a quick dive at the soldier, but his powerful arms closed around thin air. The lithe, much faster man had easily eluded the clumsy lunge. In passing, the captain laid one on the button of the gangster that should have felled an ox. But Crusher only stood there, shaking his head and swinging his long, flail-like arms like a cornered standing grizzly. A shrill yell from Bucky, who must have followed his pal, warned Captain America just in time. He whirled, dodging, as an evil-looking dirk whistled past him, its flight wind plainly audible to his super-sensitive ears. This one split second off guard was exactly what the gorilla had been hoping for. Captain America felt himself crushed in a vise-like grip. The Crusher bent him backward, fiendishly grinning onto his plain-wrecked face the while. The soldier's breath was cut off. His lungs were bulging, as though to explode. The blood pounding in his ears sounded like pistol shots. Tighter and tighter did the Crusher's embrace become. In desperation, the captain summoned all his pent-up breath into one blast and blew it smack into the gangster's eyes. Rasping out an oath of surprise, Crusher slackened his hold the tiniest bit. Collecting all his strength for one last-ditch effort, Captain America brought up his right knee sharply and broke away from the death hold. After that, things happened with lightning rapidity. Slinky had a blackjack poised over the captain's head when Bucky jumped right into the crook's face from a tabletop. Both went down in a heap of thrashing arms and legs, enlivened by some choice cussing on Slinky's part. Captain America landed 2 long-shot punches on the Crusher's jaw, and a third, smacked on the button, sent that worthy representative of the underworld into dreamland. Ready fighting mad by now, the captain hit Slinky one that nearly tore the lone-eyed bird's head off. Soldiers swept pell-mell into the cookhouse. One thought he saw the mythical suit of Captain America disappearing through a window, but his buddies advised him to change the brand. Next morning, the papers carried out one headline: "Saboteurs try to poison entire army post." The whole post was standing at attention. The colonel was telling of the near crime of the previous night, for the sentry had not been killed, merely severely stunned. A confession had been forced from one of the 2 killers, and the entire gang was now under lock and key. And to think, were the colonel's concluding words, that it is to the matchless bravery of Captain America that we all owe our lives. And who is this unknown hero? Who knows? He may be right here among us. The colonel looked sharply at Private Rogers. He could have sworn that he'd seen the soldier wink at little Bucky. So, Daily Bulletin, Captain America nabs saboteurs and attempt to poison army post. So yeah, that's the text story. That was longer than I thought it would be. I guess it looks shorter, like when you're seeing it from like a distance, but when you're actually reading it, it's like the length of a whole story. But I hope you guys enjoy this video. I think the next video I'm gonna do is Fantastic Four #1. I'm thinking, and then I'm back to DC again. I do 4 Marvel, 4 DC. That's what I'm trying to do now. 4 Marvel, 4 DC. But if you guys could like, comment, or subscribe, that'd be appreciated. And I'll see you guys later.